Welcome to this week's video where you guys are going to see a lot of pain and suffering from me and Eddie. We're going to talk about all the problems we faced on this project that resulted in me and Eddie doing manual labor and getting in there and doing things we have no idea about. If you guys are interested, if you guys love this content, hit that thumbs up button. Let's jump right into it. So we're going to start off right here in the garage. Unfortunately, we forgot to tell the electricians that we need low voltage here for the garage sensors and the garage button. So what do we have to do, Eddie?
So we had to drill a hole here. By we, I mean Sam did this part. I was not here for any of it. We had to run a cable, basically low voltage cable for the garage door sensors and the garage door button. So the problem is, this is a shear wall. You can't see it from that angle, which means it's completely blocked off. There's no real access to it.
A lot of blind drill holing, and eventually we got it through. I actually got it through in one go, so it wasn't that bad. But this again goes to poor planning. We should have told our electrician that we needed this, and they would have definitely done it and included it in our package. But we didn't. When they were all wrapped up, we realized after the fact. Poor planning. A lot of this has to do with poor planning and poor choosing of our subs. So it's
all a learning process. Sam.
It is definitely a learning process.
How are we going to know all these things without doing it and going through these trials and tribulations, you know?
Let's start with the exterior of the house. Let's continue walking around, and then we'll jump into the interior. Look at this beautiful post or fake post we have over here. So unfortunately here on both sides of me, there are posts that did not have foundation poured in. You guys know we had problems with our foundation guys. Unfortunately, we were not able to properly get them to do this. Whoever came in to clean this up, our framers, didn't do the best job of cleaning it up. They didn't do a proper job of framing this out. So me and Eddie sat here and we had to do this. I think we got some footage of that so we can jump there.
We had to pour new concrete here, put new hold downs, and fix some of the framing issues that were present over here.
We also, some of the stuff did not have backing for the stucco paper that we had to include up there. I mean, you can't see any of it right now, but in a lot of the corners where two corners meet, they need something in the back to staple the paper to. Unfortunately, not every single spot had enough backing, so we had to add in a couple of spots. It wasn't that big of a deal. But the main point is you gotta buy tools. We're gonna show you our tools inside once we get there. That's my favorite part. This is the existing wall that we had to wrap around and tie in because our inspector gave us a bunch of problems on it. This is again, part of the delays that he created for absolutely no reason. But we had to do that again because our framer didn't want to come out and do it. We weren't able to get a hold of him. He was busy, whatever he was. So we kind of had to do it to move the project along. We were jackhammering, we were... nailing, we were blah, blah, blah. And then behind me is some vent issues that kind of Eddie can go into.
So what we realized is they were gonna come on Monday to put in this black paper for the stucco, and we noticed that we do not have enough vents. The framer didn't put out enough vents, they didn't have enough cutouts for vents, and not only that, they were not the right size. So unfortunately, we don't have any footage of this, but me and Sam were here for many, many hours cutting out these vents so that we have the proper ventilation for a crawl space underneath the house. You have to have it ventilated based on certain calculations. You can find them online. We had it, our architect had drawn it weird, so we had to adjust that plan and cut out all these vents. We were here until 9 p.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just cutting, and even Monday all morning while they were putting these black paper on, we were cutting the vents on this side of the house as well as on that side of the house.
We're inside now in the master bathroom with our beautiful set of tools. We chose to go with Milwaukee. Why Milwaukee, Eddie?
Because Milwaukee is nice and red, and Sam likes the color red, I think.
Yes, I like to get the most expensive, nicest things.
He does like that. So I was away for a little bit, and Sam just texted me. I bought a bunch of tools off Home Depot. I'm having it shipped here. The tools were not part of our rehab budget, so we had to pay for that out of pocket. Sometimes it's really helpful. Okay, it's really helpful to have tools here because
the proper tools, Milwaukee.
It is important to have the proper tools here because there's things that come up and you just need a hammer to hammer a nail in that's sticking out. You're not gonna call your framer back, hey, this nail didn't go all the way through. We need somebody to come out here and hammer this one nail in.
I think we spent total about $1,500 to $2,000 on tools. It just varies. I don't know exactly how much it's been, but these tools have come in handy a lot, especially the nail gun. I think that's one of my favorite tools because it makes framing things out or moving studs and stuff a lot easier. So we're actually in the master bath. This is something that we did. This box out for the base of the tub and the shower is something that our framer had framed out, but it wasn't done properly, so we had to fix it. I had to build this out. They're gonna come tomorrow to hot mop this. What he did do is the blocking on the exterior right here. So anywhere you have shower pans that you need to do a hot mop, you gotta make sure you have at least an 8-foot bump up on the sides, just for FYI. So hot mop is basically a water sealant that goes down before your towel goes down. Since this is gonna be a heavy water area, not so much the tub, but a lot more the shower. But because of our design, we decided to extend this over to here. We're gonna talk more about that in another video, so make sure you guys subscribe down below so you guys can see more information on the hot mop and the extra places we decided to hot mop. Let's jump over to the living space. This is our living space pocket door, which was not framed out properly. So our framer came back and framed this out. It wasn't done properly. We wanted to make sure this was a smooth finish, that the pocket door is completely hid inside the wall. So we had to frame this out. I believe it was till here, so we had to frame out this little bit, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if you don't have the proper tools, it takes a lot of time. Fortunately, we did have the proper tools, so we knocked this out in a couple minutes with a level. A couple minutes probably took us about an hour. So after we finished framing out these, we have something else that we just discovered today that we need to do, is frame out the fireplace because we didn't frame it out properly. So I'm gonna jump over to Eddie and he can show you what we're doing over there.
So over here by the fireplace, we've talked about how we have a shelf up here and a shelf down here that we're gonna hide all of your low voltage stuff behind. The issue is these holes are way too big. If you put your TV here, you're just gonna see a gaping hole behind it. So we thought of it like, oh, we gotta frame this out. So when you put a TV here, it completely blocks out the back side. You can't see anything. We didn't think about it at first, but now we realized, hey, we gotta frame this out. We're measuring for a 65-inch all the way down to a 55-inch TV because that's how much space we have right here for our fireplace wall. If you want a bigger TV than that, you can actually have it extend past the wall, but we're gonna frame it out.
Eddie, enough talking. Let's get to work. Enough. Cut. Let's get to work. We gotta get this done and go home. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, notification bell, comment if you have any questions, but if you're not gonna help, leave. Speaking of help, Eddie, what are you doing? Eddie! Help! You're not doing anything.